Okay, guys, thank you for joining me, and thank you for joining Future of the Force and our readers. We're super excited for Blue Lock and excited to see what you guys are bringing to the table. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Doing great.
Fantastic,
Happy to be here.
awesome, awesome. Right, let's get right down to it. Right, Brian, your approach to Nagi has been impressive. I mean, I've seen the film itself. It's fantastic. I mean, especially with the Euros going on right now, there's a lot of football hype going on right now. So,
Mhm.
what did you? Where was your approach to bringing Nagi to life?
So Nagi as a character is very just like aloof and effortlessly good at everything he does. And so it's kind of hard to find that balance between just kind of like sounding uncaring and aloof and just kind of unbothered and kind of like whiny complaining, like, I don't want to do that. So that's one of those things that I tried to keep in mind while working on the film and really showcasing those times whenever he does finally start getting into the game and realizing what he likes about playing football slash soccer. America pilled. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
And just finding those moments of contrast and nuance. Those have always been like some of my favorite types of things to work on. And honestly, working on this film, I had many moments where I was just thinking to myself, watching back what we just did, being like, man, this is like why I'm an actor. This kind of stuff is the reason I became an actor.
Awesome. That's incredible.
Hmm.
Now, in regards to Rio, I mean, he goes on quite a journey in this. I mean, from the rich kid who suddenly he just turns up out of nowhere and stumbles across Nagi, and then obviously being a reluctant guy, Nagi doesn't want to get involved. So, now, where do you think the inspiration comes for Rio trying to get Nagi into joining a soccer team?
Yeah, it was as Rio finds his own dream, separate from his parents and what they want for him. He bumps into Nagi, and I think he sees this image of, wow, if me and this guy team up, we could win the World Cup. I can achieve my dream of the World Cup. So I think he definitely sees Nagi in the big picture of it all. And so attaching to that kind of feeling and that energy he has in every single shot of him, especially in the first act or two, was definitely a lot of fun. And then when things don't go the way he wants, it was also so much fun to explore that as well.
Wow, amazing. I mean, obviously it's quite hot right now being with the Euros, as we previously said. I mean, what attracted you guys to Blue Lock in the first place?
For me, it was partly the animation. Just it's so well animated. The action is so well put together. And then what I do love about it, coming from doing so many other sports shows before this one, like Haikyuu and a few others, those tend to be a lot more focused on the yes, we're a team. We got to work together. We're pulling each other up and we're helping each other. And this one is so much more just like that intense, like, no, I want to be the best on the team. I want to be the best in the world. I want to devour those around me and just take over and become like a Michael Jordan or a Muhammad Ali, like that exemplar of just pure athletic skill. And sorry, Cayman, for stealing some of your examples, but
Yeah, no, it's I haven't felt this energy since like watching Dragon Ball Z as a kid, that need to want to go train, the need to want to go work hard for my dreams. And I love the exploration in Blue Lock of the realization and the realism of you standing out. You're going to be standing on someone. If there's only one spot to fill, if there's only one star of the team, that's someone else who's not going to make the cut. That's hundreds of thousands of other people that won't be able to fill that spot. And to seeing them explore that as well was just remarkable, especially with the visuals that they use.
Wow.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, trying to follow on in the footsteps of the impressive Japanese cast. I mean, their expressions are so profound. I mean, how
Mhm.
do you guys follow on from that?
For me, it's just a matter of hearing that original performance and maybe not trying to fully emulate or copy what they did, but I'm still trying my best as an actor who is working in an adapted medium to match the energy that they give and try to make sure that it's fitting for what the original vision was. Um, my voice isn't going to sound exactly like the original actor for Nagi, just as Kamen's probably isn't going to sound exactly the same as Reo. So the best that we can do is trust the director who cast us to be like, okay, they cast us for a reason. Let's do our best to match the energy and the intent of the original, so that we can um just put the best thing out there to showcase what this show is, just for a new audience who may not be quite as open to watching a subtitled version of a show.
Yeah. I was nervous walking in and hearing the first the line from the Japanese actor, because his voice was much higher than mine. It was I can't even do the impression of it. It was so high. I was like, oh man. But again, trusting the director is the reason why. I'm like, why did you choose me for this? And so yeah, Rick told me, and we got to work and got to cooking and exploring. Yeah, just we're all human at the end of the day. So what's his characteristics? He can be charming. He can be brash. He can be excited, and all these things. And so still tapping into the energy of the original actor with not trying to completely voice match.
Right. I see. Right, Brian. I mean, starting from where we first meet Nagi, and he's a reluctant hero. He really is a reluctant hero. And throughout the film, without spoilers, he does go on quite a journey and comes out the other side. I mean, how do you try and interpret that kind of journey and make it an inspirational journey to come out the other side?
Yeah, I really love that he exemplifies the kind of people that you find in real life that just sort of effortlessly have talent for certain skills, be it arts, athletics, performance, or anything like that. And it does show that like that raw skill can get you pretty far, but then it also shows the side of the thing. It also shows the side of the coin where that talent can only get you so far before you start having to put in your own effort and start having to find your own reasons for what you do, and really breaking down what it is about uh what your desires are in this field. What I love about Nagi is that he seems to be just now discovering that about himself, and I feel like he has a lot of room to grow in that regard as the series continues, and I'm excited to continue to discover that alongside him.
Awesome. I mean, obviously, you also amass an impressive voice cast. I mean, the roster is incredible. I mean, what is it like working with those talented actors, including yourselves, of course?
Oh, it's amazing. One of my favorite performances in the show and in the movie as well is Derek Snow as Jinpachi Ego. His he's got a
Man.
monologue that's just so killer. He goes all the way up, he goes all the way down, and he's Derek. I'm pretty sure has a theater back. He does have a theater background. He talks to me about it all the time, and you can really hear a lot of his acting chops in any performance that Ego gives in both the movie and the series. Um, uh, a few other shout outs that I really look up to is Rico Fajardo as Isagi. He's the main character of the series. And Aaron Dismuke as Chigiri, which he's actually my favorite character in the show just because of his backstory and how that ties into Aaron's backstory, real life story, as he was going into performing it. And I won't tell too much more than that, but those are definitely some standout performances that I'm very proud to be able to say that I've performed alongside.
Yeah, I'm still on his answer with Derek with Ego. I forget he's not the original voice sometimes. I get lost in the show, and he's the unsung hero of the show, the backbone of the stakes, of the necessity and the need of these characters. The way he just gets up there and really sets the tone of the danger of this whole situation of Blue Lock. And sometimes I get lost and forget, wait a minute, we know that guy. Like it just seems like part of the show and we're adding to it. But he's, oh my gosh, every time I hear him give one of his monologues, I just get so fired up and ready to play.
When you
Oh,
hear
I'm not
Derek's
surprised.
when you hear Derek's performance, it's almost as if they animated to his performance too. It's
Yes.
like, wow. Yeah.
Well, that's what I noticed in the dub version. I mean, the passion that you guys actually projected through. I mean, I know it's dubbed, but you guys put such a performance. It came the actual fruition of it is seamless. It just seems to gel so well.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. I really appreciate that.
No, it's my pleasure, mate. I mean, for you, Cayman, you know how Rio goes on quite the journey. I mean, obviously from the sport rich kid, he comes in and he becomes quite humbled over the course of the time. I mean, how do you approach taking him from that high prestige and take him down to ground level again?
I think the process of how he starts is, yeah, I get everything I want. So he's kind of got like a little bit of a swagger to him. Like what I say goes. And then as the movie goes, what he says isn't going the way he thought. And so, yeah, just that I was so glad to explore that. Versus sometimes in the show, you might not get all of that in there. And so I was so glad to humanize him more so people could see he's actually really relatable. How many people haven't gone against their parents to chase their dreams? And so I love that getting a chance to explore that aspect of him, and also, yeah, spoiler free, but the more emotional side of him as well.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, that's one of the things that I found quite tangible was the actual emotion that he portrayed, especially as his relationship, with Nagi all the way through it. It seemed to blossom and blossom, and there are stops in the road where both of them they're challenged in their own belief system and their relationship with one another. So I found that quite a profound journey. So
Mm.
going through that journey, how did you guys get to the finale where we won't say what the finale is, but where you guys are in that moment? How do you channel that?
Like I said, it's just hearing the original music, the original performances, the animation. One of the benefits of working on anime over like on camera or even on stage is that in those situations we don't really get to see the finished thing until, like in the case of on camera, like maybe months later for a film or maybe a few weeks for for a commercial and stuff. And
Hmm.
then if you're on stage, you never get to see the finished thing because you're doing it every time, and so you only ever see the show from your perspective. And so with anime, it makes it so easy, at least for me, to just feel the energy of the animation, see the finished thing, and then watch back what we just recorded and say like, wow, that sounds like I can't wait to see that on the film, because that's basically the finished thing. Unless I find something about it that I'm like, I kind of want to like say that word a little bit differently. I kind of want to redo that take. Um, but for the most part, what I love about working on anime is that we do basically get to see the finished thing as we work on it, especially if other people have recorded before us. Like I believe Kamen had recorded most of the movie before me, so I got to hear a lot of his performance and play off of it too.
Yeah, the especially the ending, man, that was definitely a favorite. And just with tapping into my own ego as an actor of how do you visualize what's your dreams or goals or moments to want to have, and relating it to sports, it was like having the ball in the fourth quarter and you get the big shot or throw the game-winning touchdown or make the final hat trick, you get to kick it in and to win the game. I felt like Bryson and I really got an opportunity as actors to really show what we can do in that third act. And I'm so grateful for that. And that it's on an IP this big. It wasn't on something buried that you'll never see or isn't coming out. It's in theaters. Like, that's just what a dream.
Mhm.
That's incredible. I mean, I definitely felt the emotion, guys. You hit the nail right on the head there.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And right, final question, I guess, because we're almost out of time. But yeah, what is the biggest challenge for both of you for voice acting?
For voice acting, it's typically whenever I start to get in my own head about like the reads that I did, and I'll probably give a different answer on different days, but like every now and then I'll find myself challenging myself with like a read or like trying to do something different, and then I'll put it out there, I'll blurt it out, and then we'll listen back and be like, that's terrible. I want to take that again. And then especially if I'm working with a director I haven't worked with before, like it makes me be like, oh shoot, they're gonna think I'm bad. Let me let me go back to doing my safe stuff. And it's trying to find ways to experiment out of that safe zone in a way that like really showcases what I can do as a performer. And I feel like Nagi as a character is not the typical type of character I play. And what I loved about working with Jonathan Rigg on this and his decision to cast me is that it was a bit of a stretch for me working on this movie and this series with this character, because I am used to playing the more high energy golden retriever type characters, similar to Reo in other shows like Haikyuu. I played Hinata, who's just this hyper sunshine boy. Um, and coming back, going back to the opposite of that with how just chill and aloof Nagi is. It's always fun to find those things that help me stretch, but sometimes it can be difficult too.
Yeah, I'd say on the performance side of things, especially with this role, was watching, like, growing up in Dragon Ball Z, all the screaming looked easy until you actually have to do it. And so when we were actually having to yell and grit and bring all the gravel and energy to the voice, I was learning on the spot with some of those in season one. So I was glad to be able to have a better take on those for the movie. But I speak even more to the business side of things. This acting isn't sports, so it isn't like, if I put up this many points, I'll get this role. No, it's much more competitive. You got to market yourself. You got to network. You have to attend things. You have to meet people. So it's the biggest challenge is making sure you have another job after the one you're doing.
Indeed,
Mhm.
that's always helpful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you, guys. And well, thank you once again from me personally and for the readers of Future of the Force. We appreciate your time. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having us.